Hey, everybody, welcome to Robbie Rants live here on a Sunday evening, November 25th, 2018, to be specific. I am Rockin Robbie Billups here for Pop Culture Philosophers, and this is our weekly live chat that I do. We love hanging out with you guys, talking about comic books. Today, we will be talking about this upcoming Wednesday's new comic books, some very exciting titles coming up. Talking about some Jeff Lemire type stuff. I really want to get into some of that, talk about some Jeff Lemire stuff. We'll be doing a trade paperback spotlight, and we'll be doing some show and tell. I will totally be opening up the Toy Biz Galactus action figure from the 90s. Very excited about that. I got that almost a year ago. Haven't opened it yet. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Open it up tonight. So I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I had some highs and lows this weekend as far as football goes. My Dallas Cowboys won on Thursday night. Now are first place in their division. That's super, super fun. I guess there were some games today. Maybe they changed around. Anyway, also, though, the Auburn Tigers lost yesterday, as expected, to the Crimson Tide. So anyway, so it's been up and down for me, but I've had a great weekend. I hope you guys have had an amazing weekend. As soon as you jump in and you're here, say hey and let me know you're here. I'd like to know. What's up, Sebastian, Reggie, Bama Links Comics? How are y'all doing? Very excited to be chatting with you guys here on Pop Culture Philosophers for Robbie Rants Live, talking about comic books, movies, pop culture, and more, all that jazz. Very, very excited. So a couple days ago, I put up a video inviting everybody over to the Facebook group, the PCP Army. We had a few new members join up, so that's really, really cool. Is anybody here representing the PCP Army? If so, what's up? What's up? What's up, S Squared? How you doing? I am doing fantastic. I got some show and tell stuff, some really exciting stuff for later on. We always start off with looking up the upcoming comic books of the week, so we will start doing that very, very shortly. I do plan on showing off, like we were talking about, that Galactus action figure. I got a couple pops to show off, something special right there, and we'll be looking some more at some of the early Marvel trading cards, collectible cards. S Squared, you're over in France, right? What's up, Sebastian? How you doing? Oh, what's up, Don King 18? Tell you something. I have read the first issue of Batman Who Laughs, and it is extravagantly awesome. It was really, really good. A job well done by writers Scott Snyder and artist Jock. I'm a huge Jock fan. A lot of people. His Joker cover is like one of the most popular covers out there right now. This is an amazing, cool book. If you are a fan of metal, you're gonna love this book, absolutely. And it's got so France is like is football like what we would call soccer. Is that like the biggest sport in France? Over here, it's American football. What's the biggest sport in France? Is it soccer or something like that, or what? Football? Football, the OG football. Yeah, it's a great time for reading comic books. What's up, Atari? How you doing? Anyway, if you read Metal, Batman Who Laughs is going to blow you away. It's got one of those endings that's pretty cool. Could be a big deal. We'll see. I've also read the first issue of Peter Tomasi's Detective Comics run. That was a really cool setup, cool little mystery, kind of tying in to the Wayne murders and all that kind of stuff. I'm really excited for this book. The last time Tomasi was on Batman, it was a big spotlight on Batman's role as a father to Damian in the Batman and Robin New 52 run. Born to Kill is one of my absolute favorite Batman Damian stories. So I'm super pumped for this. Brett is listening on the road yet again. Well, thank you, buddy, for checking us out. What's up, Trent? How you doing? We got some PCP Army members here. Yeah, I'm pumped for Freedom Fighters and Martian Manhunter. I've never really responded too well on initial readings to Steve Orlando's stuff. I have the first issue of Martian Manhunter, but I haven't read it yet. So it's in black and white, the one that they gave me. So it's probably not going to be as cool. I'm sure like the coloring in this book is really neat. My brief skim through of it, the art looks really cool. It's Riley Rosmo. He did the Green Wake book from Image back in the day. Does some really cool, different type stuff. 12-issue maxi series. Hopefully I'll try to read that tomorrow because I really want to let you guys know if the Martian Manhunter series is going to be good. They haven't sent me anything for Freedom Fighters, but I would love to get some early looks at Freedom Fighters. That book It's got some promise. It's cool characters with Uncle Sam and whatnot. But Josh Williamson, he's been doing a really good job over on Flash. I'm excited to see what else he's going to be doing. Oh, Sebastian, I am totally still reading John Davis Hunt and Warren Ellis's The Wildstorm. It's one of my favorite books on the shelves. Absolutely love that book. Every time a new issue of The Wildstorm comes out, I get excited. Pretty much guaranteed that if it's written by Warren Ellis, I'm going to read it. He's probably my second favorite comic book writer of all time. What's up, Stephanie? How you doing? Yeah, Reggie, I'm right there with you. That delay on the Outsiders books, it does suck. I'm really, really looking forward to Brian Hill's take on Batman and the Outsiders. I really like the setup that he did in Detective Comics earlier this summer. I think that Brian Hill's getting better and better as a comic book writer. His last issue that he released was American Carnage #1 that came out last week. That book was so good. And as good as Brian Hill's other work in comic books has been, this was definitely something that was at levels above, at least for me. It was much denser. It had more of a nice narrative flow to it. Great characterizations right off the get-go. American Carnage blew me away. Brian Hill's getting better and better. The episode that he wrote of Titans, I watched that. It was really good. Was there a new? There's a new episode of Titans that I haven't watched. The last one I watched was Jason Todd. Jason Todd in Titans is petulant. He's a brat. He's undeserving. He's a little snot, annoying little kid, and that's perfect. That's perfect. That's exactly how he was as Robin, right? That's why we all voted for him to die. But if you haven't been watching Titans on the DC Universe app, man, it's really good. I was like, seriously, not expecting that. Titans has got some of the best writing on television. It's definitely the best comic book TV show that I've watched, especially from DC. I'm not big into the Arrowverse and all that stuff. But man, Titans is something else. But yeah, at least we are still getting Batman and the Outsiders. You know, they could have just canned it completely. But they're being very vague about it. Like apparently, like Brian Hill, Brian posted on Twitter something like, "Don't worry, it's fine. There's some things in the DC universe that got a line right first." And I think he meant in story. I'm pretty sure he meant in universe, right? So what is it going on? A lot of people are thinking it has something to do with Cassandra. So that'd be interesting to see what's going to happen. Batman Dam #2 is going to come out, but it did get delayed. It's not coming out until December. Also, Doomsday Clock got delayed. That was supposed to be out this week, but it got delayed. It's not coming out till September. But at least it's better than like a month's delay. I think the next DC Black Label book coming out is Batman Who Laughs. That is, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a DC Black Label book. I think that's the next one. After that, I guess we will be getting 3 Jokers at some point. There's supposed to be a Wonder Woman book by Greg Rucka, and there's also supposed to be a Wonder Woman book and also the other side of the DC universe, the other history of the DC universe by John Ridley. That one is supposed to be a Black Label book, I believe. That comes out in March. So those are the next ones, I think. And yeah, they're re-releasing a lot of classic DC works under Black Label now. Black Label just basically means a more refined method of storytelling, right? So it's like if it's Black Label, right? It's like imagine liquor, right? If you know anything about bars, you get your bottom shelf, you get your top shelf. This is like meant to be the top shelf stuff, the stuff that's maybe not necessarily tied into continuity, but some of the best work out there. All-Star Batman. I mean, All-Star Superman, not All-Star Batman and Robin. All-Star Superman is being reprinted there. Kingdom Come's being reprinted over there. A bunch of others. I think Dead Rabbit will totally come back. Right now, Image is going to be really wary of everything, but I think it will come back rebranded. But that lawsuit might put a stop to all that, actually. We shall see. Was it like a $2 million lawsuit or something? It's crazy. Oh, Stephanie, I loved American Carnage. I raved about it in the weekly comic book review last week. It was #2 in my list. Over at Twitter, I release my top 5 comics every Wednesday morning. I do the pick of the week here on the channel, the weekly comic book review, but I always give my top 5 over on Twitter. It was #2. American Carnage was great. I loved it. I thought it was great. It's Brian Hill's best comic book work to date. A very dense story, great characterizations, just a great setup to a really interesting story. As far as I'm aware, James, all the DC Black Label books are supposed to be that same size that Batman Damned was. But if that's not the case, I will let you know. That being said, though, after reading Batman Who Laughs, a digital copy, I would love to see it in that format. That art deserves that kind of spotlight. One of the best things about Batman Damned was the art and how the format really allowed you to take in all the detail of Bermejo's artwork. Yeah, I've heard good things about Post. Excuse me. I got a new tank because I shattered my other one a few days ago, and still getting used to like the amount that it's like throwing into me, man. No, seriously. But yeah, but popcorn tastes delicious, so why would anybody care about that? But Brian Hill doing Postal. I've heard that Postal's really, really cool. Definitely something I plan on checking out. Yeah, as soon as I heard the concept for American Carnage S Squared, I thought it would be really, really good. And I'm glad that it over-delivered, at least to me. I thought it was really, really good. But yeah, Thomas, you're right. Vaping, smoking, all that stuff's bad for you. I wouldn't recommend any of it. Yeah, or they would fit in a magazine size box, right? And, you know, I have always resisted getting a magazine box, even though I got plenty of things that would fit in a magazine box. A lot of people that got some of the old school Marvel graphic novels or Savage Tales of Conan, things like that. I got a handful of like some old issues of Creepy and Eerie here and there. I got some magazines, some alter egos and back issues. So it's about time for me to get a magazine size box anyway. What's up, Slime? Sorry you retracted your statement, but I'm glad to see you here. Yeah, Last Night on Earth, that's coming out too. And Superman Year One, but Superman Year One's been delayed as well. But we will be having a lot of DC Black Label stuff starting in 2019 for sure. No, Reggie, I'm pretty sure that DC Black Label is still going to be more adult-oriented, more mature-themed meaning, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to have like graphic nudity or excessive violence or anything like that. It just means like mature as far as theme goes. But I'm sure you'll still see some very edgy stuff come from DC Black Label. Yeah, Curse of the White Knight is a sequel to White Knight that will be coming out. Is that what, January, February, March? Soon. I'm unclear on what happened to Absorbing Man. He seems to have been experimented on by some government type people, some shady people, and now he's like red. So that was a little weird. I'm glad you found the last copy at your shop of American Carnage. Border Town hit, and it hit hard. American Carnage hasn't quite hit that hard, but it definitely has that potential. Vertigo's been pumping out some really good books all of a sudden. Definitely cool. Slime for the kind words. Appreciate it. I've never checked out Cemetery Dance magazine. Yeah, Superman Year One's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what Frank Miller's going to do with Superman Year One. I am not 100% sold on the idea, but I'm very eager to see what he's going to do. Barry Windsor Smith? I haven't seen anything from Barry Windsor Smith in a long time. I have been reading Bully Wars, and I love Bully Wars. I think Bully Wars is a really fun, cool, charming story. A little bit of heart to it. I really did like it. Nelson, I don't know if Absorbing Man's supposed to be dead or when he came back, but he was there in the new issue of Immortal Hulk. You love reading cover? Are we talking about like the Bendis David Mack book cover? I love that book. I think it's exceptional. Yes, Stephanie. The problem is that eventually, at one point, a few years ago, a new Image #1 was almost not only a guaranteed financial investment, but a guaranteed great book, right? As more creators have flocked into Image to do creator-owned work, not everything is for everybody. Not everything's going to resonate with you quite like it did back in the day of like when Saga and Fatale and East to West was first launching. So I don't think Image is quite as 100% as they used to be, for a brief time there, but Image is still one of the absolute best publishers out there in comic books. I definitely think that currently they're the third best publisher. My favorite Sandman Universe book currently would be Books of Magic, and it's kind of the only one that I'm really into. That being said, I only read the first issue of House of Whispers. I only read the first issue of Lucifer. I decided that Lucifer seemed like it was going to be something a little too dense for me to follow with as much as I read, so I decided to trade weight that one. The Dreaming's interesting, but I don't know, it's just not really grabbing me each issue, so I'm definitely going to read that when it comes out in trade. I'm sticking with that one. Books of Magic, though, I thought was a pretty good first issue, so I'm excited to see where that's going to go. Did he die in Ahmed's Black Bolt? See, I never finished his Black Bolt. I thought it was really good when it first started, but then I fell out of it, man. I really been meaning to go back and read that. What's up, David? How you doing? That's another member of the PCP Army, right? Who here representing PCP Army on Facebook? That being said, if you haven't joined us over at Facebook, PCP Army, me, other members of the Excitable PCP crew, our fans, followers, friends, family, we're all there, sharing news, funny pictures, all kinds of crazy, cool pop culture related stuff. We'd love to have you in the conversation. Join us. The Cyborg series got canceled. David F. Walker was doing a pretty decent job with the character. Unfortunately, Cyborg's not going to be one of those characters to really be able to carry a solo title. I think it's a shame. I think it could be done, but it's going to take some really top-tier talent to get people to really pay attention to a Cyborg solo book, in my opinion. And I love David F. Walker. I'm really excited for Naomi. Bitter Roots #1 was amazing. His Power Man and Iron Fist run was fantastic. I hear really good things about his Nighthawk run over at Marvel, however short-lived that was. Unfortunately, David gets put on a lot of characters that don't really traditionally or historically carry their own titles for too long. But it definitely seems like Bendis is making sure that he's got something to do over at DC right now. Bitterroot, that's going to do something. That's going to be a big deal. And Naomi, I'm really, really excited for that one. So Nelson Slime says that Absorbing Man did die in Black Bolt, but he came back at the end of it. So sure. Atari says he's in the PCP Army. Thomas, I would probably, it's always tough to decide or to recommend to someone when they should unload a book that's getting hype and hot, right? That being said, I think that Dead Rabbit, I think right now it's at the height because Diamond came out, they did a mandatory recall. Nobody's gonna send those back. They all wound up online. They started hitting. Last I saw, they're around like $40 to $50, something like that. If that's where it's still at, I would probably unload it now, but I would hate to give you that advice. And then 2 weeks from now, it's like $100. But Image, first of all, overprinted that book. Okay, so they overprinted it, and a lot of shops did already send some of their copies back. Some of them may have held on to them. So how many are out there in the wild? You would think that there are actually a lot right now. So I don't know. I'm not the best person to judge that, but I feel like now is the time. But I could be wrong. We got another. He came back at the end of Black Bolt. Sebastian, you're all about some IDW license stuff. I'm excited too. I'm really excited. I think that there could be a good time for a relaunch. IDW has been doing some really good stuff with licensed material recently, especially the Kelly Thompson-led Jim and the Holograms run that they did too long ago. One of my favorite comic books of the last 10 years has been Jim and the Holograms. IDW, they've been doing really good work with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles property. I've heard good things about some of the Transformers books. But by the time I really wanted to get into them, it was just kind of like there were so many different characters, what's going on. But I'm really, really excited about a potential relaunch of the Hasbro universe over at IDW. You know, David, I think Tom King's been doing some great work over on Batman right now. I really do. What's up, Roman? Yeah, that's Fin Fang Foom back there. Oh, man. And I last week when I was... The other two dragons, there's the silver one and the gold one, and I never got the gold one. It's still sitting over there. I just realized that last week I said, Oh, don't worry, guys. Next week I'll have them both out of package and show them off, but they're over there. But don't worry, we're going to be getting into some really cool toy stuff. But yes, that is a Fin Fang Foom right there. There are 2 other dragons, gold and silver. Check out last week's Robbie Rants Live. I opened them up at the end. Really fun stuff. Really cool characters. I love Fin Fang Foom. Those toys, by the way, that right there, that's from the Iron Man Toy Biz line from the mid 90s when they had the Marvel Action Hour, Fantastic Four, Iron Man cartoons going on. What's up, Nunya Beeswax? How you doing? What's up with IS? I don't know what we're talking about. Yes, Savage Swords 2 is this week. You need a copy of Godzilla King of Monsters #1. Are we talking about the old school Marvel one? Is that what you're talking about? Because he's Bane. That's pretty much it, David. Because he's Bane, and Bane is like so on top of everything. And what I love about Tom King is he's been building this Bane story up since the beginning. He's basically doing a spiritual successor to Nightfall, like something that's even going to break Batman even deeper, right? Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, all that stuff, right? Exactly what you would expect from Bane. I'm very excited for that. But that's how. And who is that someone in the bat suit? I mean, that's the Thomas Wayne Batman from Flashpoint. At least that's the costume of the Thomas Wayne Batman. Really excited to see what's going on here. Yeah, I like how they do that at IDW sometimes. Godzilla books are hard to find because they're not the biggest sellers, but there's something that sell in the long term because there's tons of Godzilla fans that may not be right there and then in the moment getting every new Godzilla title that releases, but over time they do. But in the time of initial, and comic book sales are all about what's hot, what's new, right? Books will rarely sell like months later, right? Godzilla is one of those titles that do, though. That being said, my favorite IDW Godzilla book is Godzilla in Hell, an amazing book. That book was so fun, so cool. Dwayne, what's up? He's loving Immortal Hulk. It's one of those ones I'm definitely eager to jump back into and read in one big chunk. I feel like I'm missing something issue to issue with that one. Heroes in Crisis might be out this week. We'll take a look. Yes, Slime. I thought the Death of the Inhumans was a pretty good story. I like how it. I like how it ended. I really do. Just because I don't want to spoil things, but I like the end of Death of the Inhumans. It would be nice to see them get spotlighted more with Dan Slott now kind of focusing more in on Fantastic Four. Hopefully, we'll get some really cool Inhuman stories out of that. Yeah, Dwayne, I do a pick of the week every weekly comic book review. I do a weekly comic book review here. I go through a bunch of comic books I read, usually on average 30 comic books, sometimes more, a little bit less sometimes, mostly 30 books or more. I always have a pick of the week on my Twitter feed at Rockin Robbie. I release the top 5 comics of the week. And yeah, so we totally are into recommending comics around here. My most expensive comic book that I own right now is probably the first appearance of Dr. Doom. Yeah, Godzilla in Hell is good stuff. Oh, my actual pull list, Tom. I don't have too many books, probably about 15 to 20. Immortal Hulk 2 is going for money right now. That's interesting. I wonder why. Why 2? 2s typically are under-ordered, right? So like issue 1s sell really well. Stores order a lot of issue 1s. They drop those orders for issue 2. So if something really sustains itself into the second issue, which Immortal Hulk totally did, that totally makes sense to me. I love Green Lantern, Robert. I thought the first issue by Grant Morrison was amazing. I really did like it. A nice setup to see what's coming. Ernesto, if you want to frame comic books, the only thing that I really use is, I don't remember the company. I don't know what it is. They have these like snap like these like snap clamshell type like showcases or whatever. Maybe it's BCW, maybe it's something else. I don't know. That's what I use for the few that I do have in those kind of things that are up on the wall over there. I say they're up on the wall over there. I totally lied to you guys just now. They're not up on the wall over there. They're in boxes over there. I was just trying to seem cooler for some reason, like a little bit more got together, you know? But no, that's what I have. They're like these, I'm sure you can find, they're like super, like, they're not like pristinely like sealed or nothing like that, but there's these nice little plastic clamshell things. They get current size, Silver Age, all that stuff. Yeah, I like the horror vibe on Immortal Hulk, but I feel like they can fully commit to it. My 3 picks last week. My number 1 was Middle West, number 1 by Scotty Young. Number 2 was American Carnage, number 1 by Brian Hill from Vertigo Comics. And number 3, what was number 3? Let me pull up my Twitter feed and remind myself. Oh, a character from the Bill Bixby show. That's interesting. Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Kool-Aid Man or Incredible Hulk. Totally Kool-Aid Man. Kool-Aid Man wins that one. When are we going to see the Immortal Hulk and Weapon X? I don't know. Yeah, we actually, at my shop, we had plenty of Middle West to a point. We sold out pretty quickly, though. It was good. So last week, for instance, my top 5 comics. Number 1, Middle West, number 1. Number 2, American Carnage, number 1. Number 3, Batman 59. Number 4, GoBots, number 1. Number 5, Smooth Criminals, number 1. So let's get into some of the upcoming comic books coming out this week. Let's start with Dark Horse. First of all, if you've been waiting to read Black Hammer for a really nice, prestigious collection of it, we got this awesome giant hardcover of the first 12 or 13-ish, whatever, the first series of Black Hammer, all in one hardcover for $49.99. That's going to be out this week. That's really, really cool. Hellboy returns with Hellboy in the BPRD 1956, part 1 of a 5-issue miniseries. Stranger Things number 3 is out this week from Dark Horse Comics as well. What about IDW? IDW's got an Atomic Empire hardcover. I don't know what that is, but the cover looks gorgeous, looks really, really cool. The Highest House trade paperback is out. Don't sleep on that book by Mike Carey and Peter Gross. It was amazing. Really cool composition, great pacing, great story, really fun stuff. House of Muck number 3 is out this week. IDW's doing these all ages Marvel books. Those start this week with Marvel Action Spider-Man number 1. Sonic the Hedgehog number 11 is out this week. The TMNT Macro series hits issue number 3, which spotlights Leonardo, leader of the TMNT. And Uncle Scrooge, My First Millions number 3 is out this week. It's kind of like a Uncle Scrooge year 1 in a way. From Boom Studios, we got Coda number 7, Fence number 12. Labyrinth, Under Spell, number 1. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, number 33. I have not been liking that book very much post Shattered Grid. So just to let you guys know. And Regular Show, 25 Years Later, the final issue of that is out this week. Yep. Also from other publishers, excuse me. From other publishers, we got Archie 1941, number 3 out this week. From Aftershock, we got Beyonders number 4 from Paul Jenkins. That was really cool. Wesley St. Clair on the artwork. From Scout Comics, we got a new number 1 this week, Monarchs number 1. From Black Mask, we got Sex, Death, Revolution number 2. It's a Mags Visaggio book. I have issue 1 right over there. Haven't read it yet. And from Vault Comics, Publisher of the Year, that's These Savage Shores number 2, as well as a second printing of number 1 with a really nifty Tomb of Dracula homage cover. So that's some of the smaller publishers and their releases this week. We will be getting to Image, Marvel, and DC momentarily. Nunya, I really liked Middle West. I thought it was really good. I'm glad you got a copy, period. Yeah, Mike Costa did work at Avatar Press. Yeah, Avatar is not my favorite company. They do some weird stuff sometimes. You know, Thomas, I didn't read that conspiracy book I don't read a lot of Xenoscope stuff, so I usually don't even read any of it. So I did not check that one out. I am looking forward, Tom, to Shazam. I think Shazam is a great character. Jeff Johns has a lot more to say with that character. The last time we had an ongoing Shazam story at all was Jeff Johns and Gary Frank kind of redefining the character for the New 52. I like that run. I'm excited for the movie coming out. I'm excited for Jeff Johns. There have been some delays. Aside from that, I'm very, very much looking forward to it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Weapon H right now. Like, is that book? I heard some rumors that it was getting canceled, as well as Weapon X, but I'm pretty sure survive, and I'm certain that one day we will get a Weapon H meeting the Immortal Hulk. Yeah, Black Hammer #1 is shooting up right now. Black Hammer, some stuff to get into right now. It's great. Just got picked up by, I think it was Legendary, to do like some movies and TV shows. Black Hammer is this really cool world that was created by Jeff Lemire. Excuse me, he's just knocking those books out of the park. Totally knocking those books out. What's up, Rag718? How are you doing? No problem, Sebastian. So we're about to get into Image Comics. What's coming out this week for Image Comics? This Wednesday is November 28th. Some exciting things. Like we were talking about earlier, if you've just happened on this live stream, if you're not really familiar with the channel, every week I do a weekly comic book review. It usually releases late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. Some of your first word on what's coming up. I do it all in one take. I just read like a bunch of books, and then I put the camera on and I just go. And I have a lot of fun doing that video, and a lot of people respond well to that video. And so if you've never seen an episode, I highly encourage you to check them out. But while we're about to get into what's coming up this week from Image Comics, I'm going to pose a question to you. We were just talking about Black Hammer. What is your favorite Jeff Lemire book? This is a question that I asked last night on the PCP Army on Facebook. Got a lot of different answers. A lot of Black Hammer, a lot of Descender. I straight up said Descender. Descender is a great space opera about artificial intelligence, but it's also a great story about humanity. I love it so much. Dustin went on the artwork. It's luscious. It's beautiful. It's epic. It's great. And it's completed now. The whole thing is completed in 6 trade paperbacks. But the more I thought about it, I think Royal City might be better. Royal City is amazing. Royal City was, 14 issues? It's all done now. 3 trade paperbacks, also illustrated by Jeff Lemire himself. I love that book so much. Royal City, Descender, those are my 2 favorite Jeff Lemire books, and they're really, really close. So what's your favorite Jeff Lemire comic book? Here we go. S Squared says that a crossover between Weapon H, Wolverine, and Hulk is already scheduled. So there you go. Yeah, Nunya, it'd be really cool to see the entire Black Hammer universe, like the MCU, like all connected, all different, all like really cool. And the best thing about the Black Hammer books is that Black Hammer is its own thing, and it's good. You can just read that. Or you can also, there are all these miniseries that really like illuminate some of these corners of this world. The Quantum Age, which is going on right now, Sherlock Frankenstein and the Legion of Evil, or whatever that was called, Dr. Starr and the Kingdom of Lost Tomorrows. I love that miniseries so much. Each one of those you could read on its own. Like maybe not so much Sherlock Frankenstein, but like if you never read Black Hammer, you could read Dr. Starr, and I think you would really still respond well to it. A nice love letter to James Robinson's Starman, which is one of the best comic books of the 90s if you guys have never read it. Well, thank you, Ernesto. I'm glad that you found this channel. I'm glad that you're still sticking with us. So thank you so much. Nico says that Old Man Logan and Descender are his favorite Jeff Lemire books. Well, Nelson, right now, off the bat, one book I'm really looking forward to this week is These Savage Shores, #2 from Vault Comics. Definitely looking forward to that one. Nunya says, Black Hammer, Gideon Falls. Haven't got to read those, but you've mentioned those. but yeah, haven't gotten to read those yet, but you've mentioned them. But I think Jeff Lemire may be my favorite writer. I think Jeff Lemire is the writer of 2018. I will officially say the best writer in comics of 2018 is Jeff Lemire. Gideon Falls is great. I love it. I got the trade over there I'm going to be reading soon. I'm very excited for that. His Animal Man run is really good, Sebastian. Overlooked nowadays. Sweet. Dr. Star #1 variant. That was if I remember, if I know the cover you're talking about, that's a really nice cover. Gideon Falls, says David. Nico says Gideon Falls as well. Yeah, last week, the last issue of Gideon Falls was amazing. Gideon Falls is great. I'm thinking real hard right now about my best of 2018 because that video is going to be coming out in like mid-December. Gideon Falls is really, really close to being up there. I really feel like I deserve, like Mr. Miracle deserves a reread, 1 through 12, all in one sitting. I can't find my issue 5 right now. It's kind of putting a damper on that, but I'm really looking forward to reading those. I haven't really been liking Magic Order that much. I read the first 2 issues. I thought it was all right. Yeah, I love what Lemire's doing. You know, The Century is an amazing book. That was a really good 5-issue series that really set up a lot that Marvel could do with that character in the future. Really excited for that. So upcoming Image Comics this week. Let's see what's happening. Die, Die, Die #5 is out this week. Man Eaters #3 is out this week. Very excited about that one. I like Man Eaters. I think that's a really, really good book. The paperback of The Realm is out this week. Redneck #17 is out this week. Regression #13. And a new one from Image, The Warning #1. Who's doing The Warning? It's written by Edward LaRoche. And it's got art by Edward LaRoche. That looks neat. It's kind of, what is that? An enormous machine slowly materializes in a major West Coast city. Who sent it and why is a mystery. Understood only by the malevolent beings gliding silently towards Earth through the inky vastness of space. In response, a multinational combat brigade called Gladiator 26 is deployed. Outfitted with next-generation military science and weapons, they're tasked with stopping any extraterrestrial threat that emerges. That could be interesting. That's a new one from Image to be on the lookout for this week. Man-Eaters. So, top 5 books I'm looking forward to this week. That's what Nelson asked. In no particular order, we got These Savage Shores and we got Man-Eaters. Those are 2 books right now. Super excited to release this week. Now we're going to jump over to Marvel. Yes, Slime. I think he's pretty decent. You know, a lot of people are crazy on Cates right now, and I think Cates is really good, but I think Lemire, especially this year, slightly better. I think Cates had a great run with Thanos, for instance, right? But Lemire's 12 issues that came before that, they were good too. They were really, really good. His Thanos run's really good. Right now, we just started and we have an Amazon page now. I don't know what that means. I know what it means, but we have a page now, Pop Culture Philosophers. We're on Amazon. I shared a link on the PCP Army, and it's where I can recommend comic books to you guys, and you can check them out. And if you buy the comic book from that page, we get like a little small smidgen of a cut, right? And that's cool. You can help support this channel, but also I wanted a way that I can have a page with a bunch of recommendations that you guys could just buy if you wanted to. So we have that set up on Amazon. I'm sure after this is all said and done, I'll try to throw a link down below. But right now, I've got a bunch of Jeff Lemire stuff on that link. So if you're on the PCP Army, if not, get on there. Find that post. Right now, I have some of my absolute favorite Jeff Lemire books recommended on that page. Yeah, Nelson, I'm with you. I like the Terrifics, but it is Lemire's weakest book. It's not as strong as The Century. It's not as strong as any of his creator-owned work. And he just recently made the announcement that he is done with work for hire, that he's only going to be focusing now on creator-owned, and I think that's the best. To be honest, I think that Lemire's big 2 work, with being at DC stuff like Animal Man or Justice League United, or if it's over at Marvel, whether it's Thanos or Old Man Logan or the Century, I think his creator-owned stuff is definitely the best. And so I'm excited to see him focus more on that. Maneater is so much fun, is it not? It's a great, fun story. And it is a good year for comic books, like every year. Seriously, comic books are just so amazing. They've never been as healthy as they are now, I think. Tom, that's a good question. When do I pull the plug on a book? Well, I pull the plug on a book not as quickly as other people would or should or could. I try to stick out certain books. I'm luckily, thankfully, in a position where I can read a bunch of stuff without having to buy it, right? I work at a comic shop. I get to read these things. It's part of my job. Part of what I do here on PCP. So I am fortunate enough to be able to check out some things maybe that I wouldn't just keep buying if it was going to happen, right? Black Panther and Tony Stark Iron Man are both two books that I would have already dropped if I had to pay to read them, right? Luckily, I get to continue to read them without having to pay for them. But in my review, I do tell you guys, like, you know, these books are getting a little weaker. And obviously, I'm not that excited. If you pay attention to the weekly comic book review, Black Panther, they don't get me super, super excited. I think they're decent comic books. I think they're good. How long do you give a comic book? You want to give it its first full, complete story, right? Usually, if you're interested in something, give it the first full, complete story, and then sometimes a reread, right? But sometimes issue 1's all you need. You're like, didn't like issue 1, cutting it, right? Generally speaking, though, I probably go 3 to 6 issues on something, but there's a lot of stuff I have to cut. Because even though I don't pay for a lot of the books I have to read, I still read a lot of comic books. And so when you read 30 plus comic books a week, it gets easy sometimes to be like, that issue 1 didn't really sell me. I got to cut it because if I want to get this video out for you guys, you know, in a more efficient manner, I can't read these 5 books this week because then I'm reading 40 comic books. So it's really, really tough. It's really hard. Really hard sometimes. I think Thor's in a lull right now. I really do. But I think it's about to pick up really, really soon. Cates is a great idea guy. I think he's good at execution as well, though. I think Cosmic Ghost Rider and Thanos are 2 of his best works, and I also think that Venom is continuing to be a great read. Hey, Josh, I'm right there with you. I'm excited to see what Legion's going to be doing in Uncanny X-Men. I'm excited to see what X-Man is going to be doing in Uncanny X-Men. I have been reading this last week Age of Apocalypse from the 90s. So I'm super pumped with what's going on with the X-Men books right now. And Age of Apocalypse, by the way, on the reread, really enjoyable. I'm going to be honest with you guys. That's for a Comics Revisited me and Brooks are doing in January. I am ready for Aquaman to come out. My man. Yeah. Badass. I don't know what Bright's been doing at all. I would like to see him and Priest come back to do some Quantum and Woody. Didn't they do that a couple years ago, though? It was really cool seeing that. To be honest, okay, so I'm a big Venom fan. I was never completely on board with Flash Thompson as Venom, though I did think that it was pretty decent, right? Like, it was an interesting concept, but I always wanted Venom to get back to Eddie Brock. But that being said, really, in hindsight, the Flash Thompson Venom was pretty dope, and I really liked how in the last issue of Venom, Cates did a nice tribute to that run by Reminder and Cullen Bunn and others, but that was really cool stuff. I thought Outer Darkness #1 was really good. I thought it was pretty decent. It didn't blow me away, but it's decent enough to keep reading it for a few issues at least. I thought Carnage Born was pretty decent too. A lot of setup. That's what this Web of Venom series mostly seems to be, is setup. I wish they would kind of maybe focus in on just telling more of a nice one and done story, but it's also nice to have the setup for these kind of things happen outside of the main Venom books, so you don't have to waste space on that. But I did enjoy Carnage Born. I love both covers of that. Amazing stuff. Yeah, Quantum Woody #12 is going to be the last issue. To be honest, I'm kind of glad. I've been buying those. That's one that is on my pull list because I've been buying those foil covers because it's vintage foil from the 90s, and I think it's super cool to have the Quantum Woody book and to have the 90s book where that foil came from. But I think that it's not been as good was in its initial first story arc by Daniel Kibblesmith. Is it Ray Hall right now? I think he's doing decent work, but it's just not grabbing me quite like it did. I love Cosmic Ghost Rider. I thought it was great because all I was expecting out of that book was a very silly, fun comic book. And it was a very silly, fun comic book. But out of nowhere, in the last 2 issues, it hit me with a lot of substance, with a lot of heart. And I really liked it because of that. Dylan Burnett's artwork's not going to be for everybody. I think it fits that book. I'm really excited to see what he's going to be doing on X-Force with Ed Brisson starting next. I read Infinite Dark #1. I thought it was an interesting idea, a great concept, but the execution didn't really grab me, didn't really pull me in. Spider-Man will totally be in Venom eventually. They've already had Miles in there. All right, guys, every so often I have to do this. This is a terrible thing to do. Nelson, I'll get to that in just a second. This is a terrible thing to do, but every so often I have to use the bathroom in the middle of a live stream. And it's the most terrible thing that I do. It's absolute dead air, but you get to look at everything behind me for a moment, but I'm about to have to hop to the bathroom because otherwise I'm going to wrap this up super, super quick. I don't want to do that right now. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go use the restroom. Y'all hang around. And we are back. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. I really do appreciate that. How are you guys doing? Anyway, I want to talk to you real quick about the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. My buddy Jeremy puts that on every year. This is going to be the fourth year, right? Yeah. Fantastic lineup this year. Marv Wolfman, Jim Shooter, Karen Ashley from Power Rangers, Walter Jones from Power Rangers, Catherine Sutherland, David Fielding, the voice actors from Dragon Ball that did Vegeta and Goku. They're going to be there. Jake the Snake Roberts. A lot of others. Lou Ferrigno. So many others I'm not remembering right now. Fantastic show. PCP will have a booth there. If you're in Huntsville, Alabama in March of 2019 or want to make plans to be there, a very fun show. Pop Culture Philosophers will have a booth. You get to meet me and other members of the Excitable PCP crew. Last year we did a panel. I'm sure we're going to do another one this year. And I get to host a lot of panels with some of the comic creators. So it's a really fun time. And if you have the opportunity to be in the area, definitely check that out. You can check them out. Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. Yeah, when you got to go, you got to go. Nelson, I would say do not skip the Onslaught era. I love the Onslaught era. I think it's great. It's the immediate era post Age of Apocalypse. As soon as the Age of Apocalypse was over, they started setting up Onslaught. I love Onslaught. I think Onslaught's a great story. I love that book. I liked how the X-Men were it in the 90s, right? And I was like a big fan, and still am, of the Avengers and of course the Fantastic Four. It felt at the time like the Fantastic Four and the Avengers always played like not just second fiddle to the X-Men, because that was Spider-Man, but like fourth and fifth and sixth fiddle, right? So it was nice to see the Avengers and especially the Fantastic Four get a spotlight in a big X-Men event. Onslaught's great. I highly recommend it. I think it's great. Yeah, Kira, some good stuff. Halftime, I like that. Yeah, that Sentinel is really, really nice. And I'm very excited now to be opening up this Galactus. I had this Galactus when I was younger, just like I had that Sentinel. Had to rebuy them. So, I don't have my old toys anymore. I wish I did. Personally, I really like Mr. and Mrs. X. I think Mr. and Mrs. X is a really, really good book. I think it's really fantastic and fun. And it's actually turned me into a Rogue and Gambit fan. Kelly Thompson's one of my favorite writers at Marvel right now. Really like that book. Yeah, Rogue's new power set. There were some interesting developments for Rogue's power set in the last issue. No, Dylan, I haven't watched that yet. I don't watch a lot of the Joe Rogan podcast stuff, but I do watch it here and there. The date for the expo in March, I think it's like the 19th or the 20th, maybe the 18th or 19th, something like that. Yeah, Josh, it's made me more of a fan of Gambit and Rogue. I used to hate Gambit and Rogue, especially when they were together. And their little mini series and then Mr. and Mrs. X, I really like it. I think Kelly Thompson's telling a really mature story about marriage, about being married and being with and starting a life with someone. I really think it's neat. Yeah, she debuted in an Avengers book. She did. Rogue sure did. Well, thank you, Nelson. I hope you enjoy it. I really like it. I think Onslaught's a great character. It makes a lot of sense. It kind of spins a little bit out of Fatal Attractions, which is another story that I really like. It's obviously 90s comic books, but I think it's got some great writing on it too. Mark Waid wrote some of that stuff. It's got good artwork too. The Kuberts. Yeah. Yeah. Electric Blue Superman's one of my favorite Supermans. I'm not even kidding. I think that's one of the coolest Superman costumes. I love the power set. I liked when Superman went electric. I really did. When he split into two, red and blue. That was a little weird. And the way it ended up they just kind of like, this isn't working. Let's fix it. But I really like the Electric Blue Superman run and era, especially when Grant Morrison was dealing with it over at Justice League when he was doing JLA at the time. I really like it. Yeah, there's a shout out right there to JLA and Electric Superman. You remember when he like moved the moon? He turned the moon into a magnet. Oh man, good. I have never read the Game of Thrones comics. Game of Thrones doesn't really appeal to me that much. Well, thank you, buddy. Greetings from Colombia. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Burnett's going to do over on X-Force. Yeah, he took on an angel. That's a great run. That's one of my favorite superhero comic books is Grant Morrison's Justice League. Let's look at Marvel Comics real quick. We got Amazing Spider-Man number 10 out this week. Black Panther number 6 is out this week. Black Panther versus Deadpool number 2. I thought issue 1 of that was pretty good. Daredevil 612 is out this week. Deadman Logan starts this week with number 1. Fantastic Four number 4 is out this week. One of my top 5 favorite comic books I'm looking forward to this week, Nelson. Infinity Wars Arachnite number 2 is out this week. Ironheart number 1 is out this week. They're reprinting Marvel Boy by Grant Morrison from the Marvel Knights days. They're reprinting that in trade paperback this week. If you've never read it, you really should. The last issue of Marvel 2-in-1 is out this week. Old Man Hawkeye number 11. Return of Wolverine number 3. Spider-Girls number 2. Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider number 2. Spider-Man Deadpool number 42. Darth Vader number 24, the penultimate issue. Uncanny X-Men number 3 is out this week with a neat Legion action figure variant. Super cool. Heck yeah. That's Marvel Comics this week. What about DC? I do like Skyward. I think Skyward's really, really cool. I think it's a cool concept. The idea is that gravity stops working. the world that comes out of that is really cool. The world building that's been done in that book has been very, very cool. It's a nicely paced comic book on very brisk action. I really do like it. Yeah, Flash Rebirth's some good stuff. I really do like it. I would say that I'm more of a Wally West fan, but I have learned to be more of a Barry Allen fan. When I first started reading DC and Flash books, it was Wally West. That was my Flash. Barry was the generation before me. But I like Barry now, but I think Wally's really good. And I think that they recognize that. That's why a lot of writers write Barry more like Wally nowadays. If you really think about it, Scott Snyder's Justice League, for instance, it's totally more of a Wally characterization, but I think it still works for the character. That's a really nice and impressive collection, Nelson. Absolutely. Wolverine is returning and dying yet again. Yeah, the Drowned Earth wrap-ups this week. No, FF number 4 wasn't pushed back because of number 3 because it's a different artist. It was the art that delayed that book. And it was just 2 weeks ago. Third time's a charm. What were the first 2 times that Thing and Alicia got married? I know the Skrull Alicia got married to Johnny. It was pushed back, but I think it's in the middle of December right now. As to my reason why, probably has to do with the artwork, maybe production. Maybe there was another bat penis in it they wanted to get rid of. Oh, I get what you're saying, Slime. Oh, they're totally getting married. It's a long time coming. All right, upcoming from Action Comics this week. From DC Comics this week. Action Comics 1005. The Black Label trade paperback of All-Star Superman is out this week. The finale of Drowned Earth with the Aquaman Justice League Drowned Earth one-shot. That's out this week. Super cool. Batgirl number 29 is out this week. Batman Beyond number 26. Batman Kings of Fear number 4. Books of Magic number 2. The DC Nuclear Winter Special number 1 is out this week. Some big talent on that book. Detective Comics 993 is out. The Eternity Girl trade paperback, something I highly recommend, one of my favorite books of the year, out this week. Flash number 59. Heroes in Crisis number 3, that's right. Heroes in Crisis does, in fact, come out this week. Number 3. Hex Wives number 2 is out this week. Injustice versus the Masters of the Universe number 5. Justice League Odyssey number 3. Old Lady Harley, my bad. Number 2 is out this week. Scarlet number 4. Silencer number 11. Terrifics number 10. Wonder Woman's number 30. Absolutely. And Peter David's Young Justice, we'll be talking about that at the beginning of the year here on Comics Revisited on this channel. Book 3 is out this week. Lots of good comic books out this week, y'all. Yeah, the art was very weak in FF3. It was because of the delay in the art, the schedule bringing in somebody else. Yeah. Well, Batman is definitely DC's number 1 property right now. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Some kind words. From Columbia, I believe. All right, we're about to do a spotlight on some trade paperbacks. I want to talk about 2 trade paperbacks that came out this last Wednesday. 2 of the best superhero comic books out on shelves right now. First of all, Venom. We're loving Donny Cates, loving what he's doing with Venom. Eddie Brock, the symbiote, they have been reunited just in time for that movie, which is smashing superhero movie records, right? Isn't that crazy? Anyway, this is collecting the first 6 issues of Venom with artwork by Ryan Stegman, the best artwork of Ryan Stegman's career. In my opinion, fantastic stuff. J.P. Meyer and Frank Martin doing the inking and the coloring. Amazing stuff. The coloring at first seems a little muted, just maybe a little too toned down, but it really works well. The artwork is great. This book is fantastic. It reinvents the Venom mythology. It reinvents the character. It really takes a spotlight on the idea of the symbiote and what it's doing to Eddie. I like that story that Donny Cates is doing, but it's also just big and epic. It introduces the god of the symbiotes It introduces this dragon type thing. Fantastic stuff. And also, Venom gets wings. This is where it all happens. Venom, this trade paperback is out. When this is all said and done, I'm going to throw a link down below in case you're interested. Really cool book. Fantastic stuff. You guys been liking Venom? Yeah, I did not like the Venom movie that much, but, you know, to each their own. The other trade I want to recommend that came out last week is this, Justice League The Totality. This is the first trade paperback volume of Scott Snyder's Justice League. Now, I highly recommend that before this you read Metal, and before this you read Justice League No Justice. But this book is fantastic. Justice League right now by Scott Snyder is my favorite superhero comic book on shelves. It's big, it's epic, it's explosive. Great artwork by Jorge Jimenez and Jim Chung. Fantastic stuff. Really like it. Great team, great characterization, big epic. The best thing about this is that it's setting up the Legion of Doom. Lex Luthor, the Joker, Gorilla Grodd, Cheetah, Black Manta. They're back. They're making a big move against the Justice League. It's big. It's exceptional. It's explosive. Really cool stuff. Dynamic artwork from Jorge Jimenez. Really like this cat style. Really like the story that's being told. Hawkwoman, Green Lantern, John Stewart. Great stuff. Really spotlighting Martian Manhunter as well. This book is more about the ideas of Martian Manhunter versus Lex Luthor, the Legion of Doom, Sinestro's there. Fantastic stuff. This book is so good. Once again, I'll throw a link down below. Once this is all said and done, in case you want to check it out, fantastic stuff. Y'all been liking Justice League? How weird did Carnage look at the end of that Venom movie, though, right? Like, did they have to give him the wig? Yeah, Venom's good stuff. Yeah, the Justice League trade keeps the same paper quality that's going on at DC right now. That, like, really thick, really cool stuff. Doug Mahnke doing that issue. Nice spotlights on Legion of Doom. Fantastic stuff. I hope the camera's not wigging out too much. It might be. It might be. What's up, Tavian? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. That's my buddy Tavian that just popped in, everybody. You definitely got to check out his channel, especially if you're into video games, fighting games, philosophy, the two combined. Fantastic stuff. Thank you for being here, buddy. I'm liking the new Uncanny X-Men so far. I think it's pretty decent. 2 issues in. It has all the best elements of the 90s X-Men to me. I'm really liking it. And I think it also will satisfy fans of any era of X-Men. I do not own my comic shop. We are in Alabama. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, buddy. Hope you had a good one. They switched to weekly because they're doing this thing right now with Uncanny X-Men. They're doing this X-Men Disassembled story. They recently did this with Avengers, where before they really kind of fine-tuned it. They did this big thing. It was a weekly series at Avengers called No Surrender. They just kind of tied up a bunch of loose storylines and threads. That's what they're doing with X-Men right now. Yeah, I mean, nobody likes a $7.99 comic book cover price at all. That's yeah. That was not cool, was it? Azrael is still in space. We'll see more of Azrael this week in Justice League Odyssey #3, a book that I've not been liking as much as I want to. We're about to get into the show and tell portion of the program. Well, please do. That'd be super awesome. So last week we showed off some of the comic book Marvel cards from the early 90s. We're going to continue on with that. We went through all the heroes last week and a couple of the first villain cards. Here's the next page right there. Juggernaut, Nightmare, Sabretooth, Electro, Doc Ock, Doctor Doom, the best villain ever. Ultron, Enchantress, Magneto. There's the next page right there. A few others. Really cool cards. I really like this whole thing. Notice they got Black Cat listed as a villain. There we go with Green Goblin up there. That's definitely Harry Osborn, by the way. Look at that Venom. I think that's Venom's first trading card, y'all. Really cool stuff. That Apocalypse is dope. That Thanos is cool. There's the next page right there. We got some of the rookies on here. Who are the rookies of this year? Well, we got Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider, Deathlock, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the 90s team. Yeah, that was brand new. New Warriors, one of my favorite. Man, this last year at the Comic Expo, I met Fabian Nicieza and Mark Bagley. Why did I not get them to sign that card? I totally should have. Nomad was new that year. That's also Fabian Nicieza. Full killer. Wow. And we got the start of the famous battles. These are some of the coolest cards they used to do. Famous battles from comic book history. I said this last week, but these cards, they would make me want to get old comic books and check out these famous fights and these famous crossovers and things like that. Thing versus Hulk, Fantastic Four versus Galactus, Fantastic Four versus Doctor Doom. It's a nice set of cards. That's Marvel Series 1 from back in the day. What, like 1990, something like that? Marvel and DC are always, books are always up on the chopping block, always. You try some things, sometimes it doesn't work. Congrats on the baby, buddy. Yeah, and if you're ever in town again, buddy, come see us. I'll know exactly what you need to read. I'm with Slime. Like it wasn't nice to pay $8 for an Uncanny X-Men #1, but it was nice that it was a thicker book with more story. David, I'm right there with you. If we went to the grocery store, I'm buying some comic books. I'm buying some trading cards. I'm doing something like that. Yeah, Nunya. We have a lot of Silver Age stuff. We do. So if you're ever in the area, North Alabama, look us up in Huntsville, and come see us and see what we got. What's up, Rondo? How you doing? You totally should, buddy. I'm looking forward to seeing you again, man. Thank you, Rondo. I appreciate that. So last week we talked about Pogs, and somebody asked me, what are Pogs? It just so happened that this week, coincidentally enough, some Pogs came into my area. So these are some DC Pogs. They're from Skybox. They called them Sky Caps. Pogs was a name that I think that was owned. These are basically milk caps, but we all just call them Pogs. This is what a Pog is. It's a little cardboard thing, right? So think like a comic book trading card, but in this shape, in this size. So you would have Pogs, and in the game, because it was a game, they'd be stacked, and you would stack certain Pogs. You would have a slammer, which was a thicker one, sometimes metal, and you would like slam them down, and if they would flip a certain way, you'd get to keep somebody's Pogs. That's what Pogs are. And I have some right here. These are DC's Bane and Batman right there. The Last Stand from Nightfall. Nightfall was going on during this time. There's Parasite. Maybe I'll be talking about this character in my top 5 favorite Superman's villains video, which is debuting this week. There's Geoforce for some Outsiders fans. Oh, we got a Batman. We also got a Vandal Savage. So these things were cool. They were cool to collect. Sometimes they would come in a sheet and you would pop them out. There's Guy Gardner. How wild is that? The Demonic Duo, Joker and Scarecrow. I got a bunch of these things. I got a whole bag of DC Pogs. Who else we got here? Yep. More Nightfall stuff. Nightfall was real big going on at the time. I got a bunch of Geoforces and Vandal Savages. Oh, there's a Green Arrow. Still from the Mike Grell days, I believe. Really cool. Oh, there's a Nightwing in the bag. There's the 90s Nightwing. And here's a Mixchess Pitalik. Right there. So yeah, Pogs were super cool. Anybody else play Pogs? I loved them. I collected them more than I played. They were called Tassos. A Ben Franklin Slammer. That's so cool. I got a Red Ranger Slammer somewhere. Man, I do not remember the end of Shuri #2, to be honest with you. What happened? Yeah, that Guy Gardner Pog. We might have to give that away for 4,000 subscribers when we hit it. Dude, if you can find that Ben Franklin slammer, you should totally look. You should totally try to find that. Yeah, Pogs were something crazy. Oh, yes, Shuri winds up in Groot's body. That's interesting. It's an interesting enough to get me to read issue 3. Shuri is one of those books where I thought the writing is all right. The art is amazing. Leonardo Romero, Jordi Belair, fantastic art team, but the book itself not really pulling me in that much. Yeah, hologram cards were the bomb. The bomb, as they would say back in the day. Yeah, I think 1975 was only meant to be 3 issues. You can totally tell that by the story structure. I was not aware of that, but it was a nice story. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I got some pops we'll show off here. A newer pop I got a Frankenstein. It's the Frankenstein monster right there. This was a Walgreens exclusive. I already have a Frankenstein monster pop, but this one, he's got the little flower. So this represents the scene with the little girl that he accidentally kills. Really cool stuff. Fans of the original James Whale Frankenstein movie with Boris Karloff, you're going to love that pop. Super cool, right? I think that's neat. Here's another one. This is from a San Diego Comic-Con back in 2016. My buddy hooked me up with this one. He's always there. He's in good with Funko. He's always at these cons helping him out. So he hooked me up with this one back in 2016. This is Green Goblin, but he glows in the dark, and he's got this cool like glitter effect to him. I've never opened this pop. I'm going to open it right now live on this show. Frankenstein. Opening up the pop. Bam! I really wish when you open these, they would go pop. Oh, man, that's neat. So there is the Green Goblin. Super cool looking. I love that little glitter. It looks like toothpaste a little bit. Definitely cool pop. Green Goblin's one of my absolute favorite characters. One of my favorite villains, especially over at Marvel. That's a really neat pop, and it glows in the dark, so I'm excited to see how that's going to work out. I hate how the Star Wars and the Marvel pops are all bobbleheads. I think it has something to do with the licensing, but I've learned that you can just kind of twist the head down a little bit and get it to be a little bit more sturdy, right? So there's that pop. I think it's super, super cool to see the glitter. I think Green Goblin should totally be more glittery, don't you? Don't y'all? My shop is The Deep. I work at The Deep, comics and games. Oh, sound effect pops would be dope. That would be so cool. Yeah. I didn't realize this, but that's probably a vampire in the Twilight universe, right? Oh my goodness. There's this like app that people are using on Facebook right now. It's like OMG or something, and people are doing this thing where it's like, this is who you are in the fictional world, in the comic book world, movie world, or whatever. I did that. I got Edward Cullen. What? I can dig that. A lot of people that first come into comic books from like being a novelist or a screenwriter in movies or TV or something like that, it's writing comic books is a different thing. It really, really is. Norman's the best. I love Norman. So those are the pops. Speaking of combo cards, bam. DC Cosmic cards. We've been talking about these for the last couple weeks. About to open up this pack. Let's see if we get a foil. The pack unopened from the early 90s. We've got a Millennium card, just like we always do. We got a Golden Age Hawkman. Like I said before, one of my favorite things about this card line from DC was that we have Golden Age, Silver Age, and Modern Age versions of the character. There's the Great Darkness Saga, and a little bit of information. My favorite Legion story, one of the only ones I've liked. Yet another Hawk figure. If you watch Titans at all, what the if? That's all he does. Crisis on Earths 1 and 2. Showcase, first appearance of the Atom, right there. War of the Gods. These are cards. So yeah, Light Ray. These are cards that I've already opened up many times before. Kanjar Row. Fire, Bolt, And a modern age cheetah, no holofoil cover. A lot of repeats. That was a problem that you would have if you collected these cards back in the day like I did, is you would buy packs and you'd get the same cards over and over and over again. So you'd have to go to a shop. And in that era, for me, it was this place called Jennings Collectibles. And they would have, these card boxes open up with them full of these cards. You could buy the specific ones that you needed. Yeah, Ryan, we were talking about it, but I'm bummed out too. I think that Dead Rabbit was a really cool book. I think it will return eventually, though. Yeah, those Masterpiece cards were cool too. Yes. Yes, David, I was a big fan of Johnny B. Johnny Boggs, as we used to call him. He did Man of Steel back in the day for a long time. Very Kirby-esque, very dynamic. I like his style. Oh, that Spider-Man line with art by Mark Bagley. They were all connecting. I do not have that right now. I need to get it. I love that card line back in the day. Do Slime, was really funny is that this morning when we released the weekly pop culture wrap-up, I was talking about the Dead Rabbit stuff, and I mistakenly said Red Rabbit to start off with, and I was like, maybe they should come back as Red Rabbit. Maybe they should. Or Dead Hare. Yeah, was it his art maybe? I don't think that's Johnny Boggs, but it's close to it. Yeah, I see how that totally reminds you of his art. His cover on Man of Steel #1, not the John Byrne one, but the ongoing series, really cool stuff. Yeah, yeah. The Carnage? Well, first of all, Carnage. One of the differences between Carnage and other symbiotes is that the Carnage is the symbiote's in his bloodstream, right? So even if you pulled off some of the Carnage symbiote, which Norman did to become the Red Goblin, he still has the ability to regenerate anytime he cuts himself, right? Right? It's comics. He was in space and he was venomized, and they took up that because he was poisoned. He was all that stuff. Heck yeah. All right. Final bit of news and final bit of everything tonight is to open up this Galactus figure. Let's do it. So I bought this from my good buddy Titus. Actually, I did not buy this. At the expo last year, the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, on Hammer Time Holshoe bought this for me. My partner here at PCP, all the behind the scenes stuff, co-host of the podcast with me, which is returning in 2019. He saw me eyeballing this and he bought it for me. Super cool. Haven't opened it. Let's open it. This is from Toy Biz from the mid-90s. Okay, cut this tape. I don't have any scissors. I'll do the pen and use the pen. So, back in the mid-90s, there was a Marvel Action Hour animated series block. For me, it came on Fox. There was Fantastic Four. There was Iron Man. They did toy lines. Fantastic Four toy line. I was so excited. It was the very first and almost only Fantastic Four line until the movie. They did this awesome Galactus. Let's open it up. Oh, yeah. He comes with this big drill thing, and it lights up. I don't remember if it includes batteries. Yeah, batteries are not included, so we won't be able to get it off today. Oh, man. Just open it. Just rip it out. Obviously, we got a bunch of twisty ties. Here, taped to the, right here, there's the fins. His fins. Bam. Got those out. How are we going to open? Oh, you're supposed to. Yeah, you got to completely almost destroy this to get it open. There we go. There's the Galactus still in its original. Goodness me. Get this tape undone. Bam. There we go. There's Galactus right there. Super cool. There's the little drill thing I was talking about. Awesome twisty tie stuff. While I'm doing the twisty tie stuff, let's see what you guys are saying. Detrabit, I like that. Yeah, Norman Osborn totally ran the Dark Avengers and Hammer when S.H.I.E.L.D. became Hammer during the Dark Reign saga. Love that stuff. I thought Dark Reign was amazing. Still do think it's cool. It was a really cool, bold idea for Marvel to do. Bendis was doing some really, really cool stuff. Yeah, he's drilling for oil. Nice observation, Brett. Oh, man. I guarantee you now that Marvel is going to be able to use the Fantastic Four characters. Galactus is going to be the next focus, I think. I'm pretty certain. You know, all of the Marvel movies so far have been leading up to Thanos and the Infinity story. Galactus is going to be your next one. Maybe they're going to build up some Skrull stuff. All right, let's. We got the drill here, but yeah, totally like yeah. What's bigger than Thanos? Galactus. Galactus eats worlds. Super cool. So like I said, I don't have the batteries right now in the studio. So we're not going to be able to get it plugged up. I remember that you have to do that with that. And then this lights up. His eyes light up. Oh, man. So cool. So here's his little tunic thing and his fins. A great Jack Kirby design is Galactus. One of my absolute favorite forces of natures and characters in comic books. All right. Yeah. Rear skirt, front skirt. It lets you know that. That's very important. This goes in the front. It lets you know that. I like that. Thank you, Toy Biz. I think they're the exact same piece, though. So we got his skirt on now. Let's put his headphones on. Do they tell us that is this right? Does it matter? Basically looks like a tuning fork on his head, but whatever. They use the same figure for the Silver Surfer line. They had a Silver Surfer animated series, short-lived. That's some interesting stuff too. They did the same figure, but he was a little bit more metallic. Yeah, I like to loosen up all the joints. There's that Galactus figure, y'all. How cool was this? So let's say if you had a Toy Biz Marvel figure from that time, which here's one. Let's just grab this Wolverine. So that was the size difference. It was super cool that they did a Galactus figure in this size. Super, super cool that it lit up and all that stuff. Yeah, it's got no batteries in it, though. But you would turn that up, and he could... So that's his world-eating machine, right? And he would talk and light up. And we'll show off that next time. And his rear skirt just fell off. But that's the Galactus figure right there. Same size, I believe, as that Sentinel up there. Probably about, like, what, 14, 15 inches, something like that. Not quite 18. I got a Galactus over there from the Marvel Universe line. It's 18 inches. It knocks this one out of the park. It's amazing. Next week, Robbie Rants Live, we'll be talking about this one. We'll bring this one back out with batteries in it, and we'll bring out the 18-inch one, and we'll do a Galactus comparison. Sound good? And I'll see if Brooks will let me borrow his Build-A-Figure Galactus from the Marvel Legends Day. And since we got it out, here's the Logan figure. These cool Toy Biz Wolverine figures back in the day would have these claws that you could, like, pop out like that, and then you could just go. Well, that didn't quite snap, did it? Yep. Not really wanting to... Okay, sneaked, right? Anyway, that's show and tell. We're pretty much at the end of the show, so let me know any final thoughts, comments, questions, anything like that. Heck yeah. Oh, man. I would love a Cosmic Ghost Rider figure. In fact, if they did a Cosmic Ghost Rider figure, which I eventually think that one day they'll do one for Marvel Legends, won't have his bike though, will he? I would totally get one. I think that would be cool. Green Bay's tied with Minnesota right now. Sad loss for the Steelers today. Brett, you should totally get a Galactus tattoo. Brett, have you ever done a Galactus like a piece of art of Galactus. Because Brett, I'll be honest with you, I love your artwork. I don't know if I've ever really told you that. Brett Hess does some artwork that's amazing. It's really cool stuff. He did this Red Goblin that I thought was so dope. Have you ever done a Galactus or a Doom, something like that? Really cool. Hunting for a number 44 right now. What number 44? I have a first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus, but it's got a stripped cover. So the very top of the cover, like, you know, this much of the cover is stripped off of my Fantastic Four 47 or 48, which is the first Galactus and Silver Surfer. Well, thank you, Tavian. I'm glad that you came and joined us. I think you do amazing content as well. And in fact, we should totally do that collaboration that we've been talking about doing for a long time. We should totally do that. Yeah, David, the Saints are dangerous. The Saints, the Rams, the Chiefs. Anybody watch that Monday Night Football game last week with the Chiefs and the Rams? Oh, my goodness. That was an insane game. Just like the LSU Texas A&M game last night. Whoa. Highest scoring football, college football game ever, I think. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Tavian. Yeah, Brett, totally. You need to do a Galactus and Doom. I tell you what, you do a Galactus or a Doom, you sell it to me at a decent price, right? I'll hang it in the studio. But I love your artwork, homie. I think it's amazing. Yeah, dude, I'll totally hit you up. We'll do that. Yeah, March in Alabama. If you guys can be here, we're doing the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. Pop Culture Philosophers will be there. I'll be running some panels, I'm sure. Doing a panel for PCP, hopefully. We'll have a booth there. Really fun times. Come meet us, me and the crew, chat with us. Yeah, Tavian, it's in March. The Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. I'll try to remember to send you a link to it. Jeremy's been putting together a really, really good show. It's the best show that he's done yet. Fantastic stuff. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. That's going to end and include Robbie Rants Live for this evening. Thank you guys so much. Be on the lookout for this. Coming very, very soon on this channel, top 5 favorite Superman villains. I definitely wanted to spotlight Superman villains. I think he's got one of the best rogue galleries out there. Top 5 favorite Superman villains coming very, very soon. Sooner than you probably think. Maybe not that soon. Anyway, also the weekly comic book review will be late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. Comics Revisited this Thursday. Me and Brooks talking about Venom, separation anxiety. And it's the final Venom Comics Revisited for a good long while. We're getting into some other stuff. Very excited for that. So thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like, give us a thumbs up, share, all that jazz and more. We're getting closer and closer to 4,000 subscribers. We'll do another giveaway then. So thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. Appreciate everything. PCP Army on Facebook. Be sure to join us. I'm out. Thanks for rocking with us. Deuces.